Hey guys, and welcome to Not Easy Being Geeky, the podcast where me, Rachel, the host, talks about nerdy shit. And today we're talking about the Twilight movies. Hey guys, so I have to start off by saying, I know I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I hate the Twilight movies. I I hate them. Because to me, they are some of the worst movies ever made. They're cheesy, the filmography is bad, the special effects are bad, and I could just talk shit about them all day, every day. So I kind of want to. I thought about doing like a follow-up podcast episode where maybe I reread the books and see as an adult if they're still bad. Because I remember okay, let me start over. I was in peak prime of like Twilight. I was around like in the prime of Twilight when all the books came out. I was in 8th grade, so I was 13, and they were like young adult novels. They still are. And essentially, I remember like actually really enjoying the books and liking the books. And then when I saw the film adaptation, I was like, this is trash compared to the book, which happens frequently. But I think it was just that this was so bad that I wasn't expecting it to be that bad, kind of a thing. At like 14 or 15 when the first movie came out. I can't remember when the movie first came out. I think it was like 2009. So I had to have been like 14 then when it first came out, the first movie. They came out pretty soon after the books, actually, now that I think about it. Like they got on that shit fast, which is why I think the movies came out so bad. I think if they gave it a little bit of time and then like really I'm sorry to the directors and everybody worked on this fucking movie. It's just that these movies, I want to meet the people that made them because I'm like, some of the final decisions that were made, I'm like, why was that a choice? Well, who signed off and was like, you know what? That's fucking fantastic. Let's keep it in there. Versus, maybe we should fix that. And the first thing that comes to like mind when I think of Twilight, like the movies, is how cheesy some of the lines are, and I just genuinely can't remember if some of these lines were in the book. I really can't, so I want to reread them because I haven't read them in over a decade at this point. So if you guys would be interested in that, please let me know, like rereading like Twilight as an adult, essentially, and seeing if it is bad, and I just remember it being good because I was a kid, essentially. But there's so many cheesy lines in these movies, and it starts off very quickly, very fast. In like the first movie, and also let me pause before I get into that. Also, the acting is like overacting. It's like so exaggerated to the point where it's like they can't be taking this seriously, right? Like this is all like a joke. And what's funny is they made like a parody movie of this called like Vampires Suck very shortly after these movies were made. And the acting, I hate to say it, it's like spot on with the real Twilight. Like it's not even much more exaggerated. It's also bad, but that's supposed to be bad. So it's like essentially they just redid Twilight with more jokes. It's anyway. So I took it upon myself to rewatch and binge all of these shitty ass Twilight movies again because I haven't seen them in a very long time. And I've seen like all over TikTok, everybody keeps talking about them again. I was like, what is making people want to talk about this again other than the fact that they're cringy? I genuinely don't know a single person that like just like wholeheartedly loves these. They're like, they're my favorite movies because they're so fucking good. It's like, no, usually people love them because they're bad, kind of a thing. Like it's so bad, it's good, you know? To the people that think it is good, I would like to know why you think it's good. And please don't tell me the story, because then that would be the books, not the movie. Because the movies do a horrible job at like conveying that, in my opinion, from what I remember. I just like all the lines that stick out to me. I literally wrote down like the best ones because I remember I paused every time I heard them, and just because I was laughing so fucking much, I was missing the other shit after I heard these lines. And it's like Edward's trying to like convince Bella that he's this disgusting, like, I'm sorry. He's this disgusting, godforsaken monster. And he says, "You don't know anything." It's the way he says it. And then 2 seconds after that, it's the very famous line where he's like, "This is the skin of a killer, Bella," and it's like him glittering everywhere. It's fucking glitter, and it's just, it's like, if that's supposed to be scary? Like, he's not intimidating at all. If anything, I would man, this is the thing, is like, I was thinking about this the whole time, that if I was in Bella's shoes this entire time, that's all I kept thinking about, was like, if I was in this moment, I would have busted the fuck out laughing. There is like no way, like, if I saw a motherfucker like that I was like head over heels obsessed with, and then he comes out and he's like, I'm disgusting, I'm godforsaken, I'm damned for life, blah, blah, blah. And then he steps out into the sun and he's got fucking glitter. I would have died fucking laughing. And what's funny is that she's like, "It's beautiful." And he's like, "This is the skin of a killer, Bella."
I think I'm gonna put sound clips of these moments.
I don't know if we'd get claimed though.
Maybe. Actually, never mind. I'm not gonna do that because we rented these movies.
You're right. I literally, by the way, guys, because I don't have these movies, you're welcome. I rented all of these fucking movies, including the extended edition, just to give it a fair fucking shot of the like part 1 of the last movie. Which I think, okay, this is the other thing, is that after all that time of making these movies, you think that the special effects would get better over time because it took a few years to make them? No, they're like, we're gonna keep our shitty choice like of using slow-mo every 10 seconds in these movies, and it doesn't have any actual effect, because then in the same fast movement scenes, it's still gonna look like they're in slow motion. I forgot how bad it looked until I saw it again, because I remember like watching the behind the scenes where they are, having them run on this like treadmill like as hard as they can, and then animating like them running in the forest later. But at that point, I'm like, why didn't you just keep it that they were like running at full speed versus like, because that would have been more effective, and then just don't do anything. Just let it be known that they run fast, because that looks better than what the fuck I saw. And they kept it in the... But what's crazy is that there's so many movies before that have conveyed like that fast movement and like with probably smaller budgets and have made it look better. Because all I could think about is like anytime you see like The Flash or something in like a TV show, and like, while yes, that's a little cheesy, it's conveyed way better than that was. It's just, they still look like they're running in slow motion. I don't get it.
We actually have that video that you're talking about. I actually shared it onto our Facebook community page.
Yes.
And I didn't know what she was talking about when she was telling me. Then I saw that like hours later, and it was everything that I dreamed it to be.
It's so fucking funny, because it was like I know Facebook listens in on your shit. Like, that's so obvious at this point, because I was just talking to him about it. I was like, no. You have to see how fucking bad that this looks, because then when you see the movie, it's like it already looks bad when they're filming it. So at that point, you're like, okay, they'll fix it in post. No, they make it 10 times worse in post. And you're just like, how? Like, how did they look slower? I don't understand. And then, like, okay, I feel like everyone like, I think one of the best lines. First of all, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but Jacob has like the cheesiest of all the fucking lines. Like all the lines I wrote down, like maybe like Edward and Bella have like a couple, but like fucking Jacob takes top tier for like the worst fucking lines. And I think it's because they thought they could get away with like just Taylor Lautner's hotness, because that motherfucker in the entire like second movie is shirtless for no goddamn reason, which also makes no sense to me, because they totally did like Hulk rules where like he gets so big that his clothes rip apart, but also he still can wear pants after that. It's like, wait, what? I'm so fucking confused. Like, why do they keep the pants on? Like, why wouldn't they just get butt ass naked then? I don't, or just I don't. It was in the contract. It had to have been that like, no, you will be shirtless for 90% of the movie. And the 1% and like the 10% you have clothes on, you're about to take your clothes off. Because it just doesn't make sense. Because I don't remember that being in the book. Like, again, I cannot stress this enough. It's been like over a decade since I've read the books. So maybe if you guys like, I'll do a follow-up episode and I compare to like rereading them. But just Jacob has the worst fucking lines. And I can't remember if he said them in the book, but I just have the craziest feeling he did not. Because they are so fucking cringy. And like the fact is that even for the time, some of these like slang words and everything were already outdated. So when I see these movies and I'm thinking, okay, but it was like 2009, 2010, like, you know, no, they were outdated even for then. So I'm like, who signed off on this? Like that was like, you know what? Yeah, the kids say that these days. No, we did not. We did not say half that shit. Like, playa and shit like that. It's like, damn, this is really outdated. Like, even for the time. It's like 2000, maybe like 2002 era to like 2005. But this was like in 2009, 2010. People weren't still saying playa. And like...
No, the people that were the super white kids.
Yeah, they were way out. Yeah, again.
At a super white school.
Yes, exactly.
Also, to, you know, another nod to his great acting ability is I noticed where the head is tilted down and the shoulders are in that power stance mode when he's like slightly angled to her every single time. It's like, hey,
like he leans in every time. He leans in like deep into like I guess to seem more intimidating. But what was funny about it was that like Edward does the same thing kind of, but his is more like he puts his chin up. Like they do like body acting where it's not just like the lines are like bad, but the whole like they put their whole body in it, and it was never good. And like obviously everyone makes fun of like what's her face, Kristen whatever for like how she acted in Twilight, where she's like grabbing her face, she's like and like all that and shit. But like I feel like they're just as bad, because Jacob had like, again, like the cheesiest lines, but was also doing it in like the most exaggerated way. And also with all that fucking money, could y'all not have gotten this guy a better wig? Because I just look at it and every time I saw it, I fucking laughed because it was so obvious it was a wig. Like y'all, like I know they probably couldn't afford like Game of Thrones and like House of the Dragon, like lace front level at the time, but there are better wigs than that. Like also, why did they not get an actual native to play a native character? Why did they get a white dude to play it? Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. That's like a whole thing. Anyway, so like Taylor Lautner is like acting, and the scene that like made me like actually it's like 3 scenes, but the one that like every time I see it, and like I know everyone makes fun of it on TikTok because I get the TikToks all the damn time, and I don't even like Twilight, but I just love that y'all keep making fun of this man and won't ever let him live this moment down. Because like Jacob is running towards Bella because he hasn't seen her in a while, and he says, Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca? And it's like, it's so fucking cringy because he also has that shitty wig. It's just- he has that shitty wig and it just he like scoops her up and I'm just like, how I think like obviously these were made for like teenage girls, but even a teenage girl I feel like would cringe at that line. Like it just I get that it's supposed to be like a sexy, like moody, dark, whatever, but it was so cringy. And like anytime I would like start to like not laugh because it was like, okay, we're getting somewhere, then like 2 seconds later it would get ruined and I would laugh again. So it just, oh my God. And that's just like the first two movies. Then I get into like the Volturian shit when they start bringing them in. And again, I cannot stress this enough. They actually had like really good actors on this movie. So I feel like at this point, it was not the actor's fault. I have a feeling that there was some shitty, like, coordinator on set that was like, no, I need more. I need more. And they just made them overact because there are for some fucking phenomenal actors in this shit that I'm like, they've been in this game for so long. How are they acting this shitty right now? Like, I don't understand, like, this one movie, but then you look at the rest of their discography and they're like phenomenal. But this one fucking movie, it's trash. So I feel like at this point, it was not the actors.
It was the theme of the movie. It was the theme. The director was like, listen, I know you can do some better shit than this.
The thing is like, I look at these movies and they just, again, they got worse throughout it. And it was like normally like a film franchise, usually like the production cost gets better. Like think of Marvel, like those movies like shot up and like each movie became more and more expensive to make essentially. Then when I look at this, I'm like, they clearly got better budgets each film, but they still ended up shitty. Just again, like the choices that were made. Also, something I will never understand. So we all know the Twilight baby, like before they like scrapped the doll, that like horrible animatronic terrifying thing. They then CGI'd the baby. First of all, why the fuck did they CGI the baby? Because like 2 seconds before that, when they give birth, it's a regular normal fucking baby. Why didn't they just keep the real fucking baby? I will never understand that. And then what's even fucking creepier is they have like a very unreal human, like adult face on this baby that's like CGI'd shittily on there. It looks like a projection on top of the baby. Like, what's, God. What's funny is I'm going to compare this to a movie that came out essentially like almost 10 years before it. I binged the Scooby-Doo movies, the live action ones, because I love Matthew Lillard. I love him so much. And even that shittily animated Scooby-Doo was 10 times better than that fucking baby. Because at least like the Scooby-Doo one, he's a cartoon character. He shouldn't look realistic. You know what I mean? It's essentially like what they did with the Sonic movie and so many other movies like Looney Tunes. Like you don't want these characters to look real. It takes it away from it. Even like in like when they did the live action Grinch, Jim Carrey, like his rendition, it still looked very close to the original cartoon. And obviously Jim Carrey has amazing facial expression, so he was able to convey that crazy like grin and shit. But I look at this baby and I'm like, that's fucking terrifying. Why does it have such an adult face? And then the fucking teeth grow in like 2 seconds after that. And I'm like, why does this baby have teeth? And I know you guys are gonna be like, because she ages faster and whatever. I don't give a fuck. Okay. It's still creepy. She literally fresh out the twat and like still covered in goo and shit and has teeth.
She's or she or he, I don't.
It's a girl.
Okay. Them. Scariest part of the movies
100%.
ever. Like I didn't even watch these with you, but I heard enough. I saw enough to know that was the scariest part of the entire movie series.
Well, and then again, like you get into the Volturi, and for me, the pacing is so bad in these movies because I remember in the books, like, it transitioning into other things and, like, building into it, but I remember, like, when I was watching the movies, I was like, "Oh, now the Volturi are here," like, out of nowhere, and they don't really explain it well in the movies, so I'm thinking, like, if nobody read these books, they're like, "Okay, this is kinda random," because they kinda just come in and you're, like, expected to know everything about them, and, they touch on it, and then again, they kinda continue that through the other movies where they're just like these almighty things, and again, unless you read the books, it was kinda confusing, like, "Okay, cool, who the fuck are these people? Oh, now we're in another country? How the fuck did we get there? Why don't you just run? Because, like, you guys run so fucking fast, I'm sure you're faster than the fucking car at this point, so why don't you just fucking run?" And then they have all these fucking sports cars for no goddamn reason, when they probably run faster than them, so I'm very confused here. Anyway, um, yeah, there's just some things that I'm like, "Why was that a thing?" And then, like, I still am confused by this, and I really don't know if they ever, like, explain this good enough in the books, but, like, she keeps seeing in the second movie, she keeps seeing, like, images of Edward whenever she's doing something reckless because she made, like, a promise to him, essentially, that, like, she won't do anything fucking stupid, and she continues to do said stupid shit to just catch more glimpses of him. In other words, like, nearly on the verge of death. Also, like, the motorcycle one was stupid as anyway, I cannot remember if it's, like, ever said that, like, she was just seeing shit or, like, he was actually, like, sending her, like, subliminal but, like, also he says he can't fucking read her anyway, I don't fucking know. It's not my point is that it's never explained well enough for me to fully understand it, and there's so much shit like that in these movies.
The motorcycle one, I mean, you're doing a deep dive into, this comedy series. I would like to know if that's the one that I saw for like 5 minutes where Mr. Werewolf dude with the long hair comes riding up even though all he had to do is run 20 feet to get to her.
Yes, that is exactly what I was talking about.
And then when he comes up to her, he does that whole brake check thing, and he, like, wiggles into it, and he just not even looking at her, he's, like, looking at the handlebars just like, "Oh," kinda deal.
Like,
That is one, right?
that's one of them, yes, where he's like, "Bella, are you okay? You hit your head." And, like, it's like but yeah, it's, like, not even, like, a quarter mile down the road, and he bikes to her, and at this point, I think she knew no, she didn't know that he was a werewolf at that time, but even still, motherfucker coulda jogged to her faster than getting on the bike, revving it up, and getting there, it made no sense. It just made no sense. Also, I think, again, like, going back to, like, Jacob's cringy ass lines, now that you made me think of that very cringy fucking moment, again, he has, like, the worst parts of these movies because he's supposed to be the hot one, like, the super fucking hot one. Like, Edward obviously is very attractive and handsome and shit, but Jacob's apparently supposed to be, like, super fucking hot and buff as fuck, and it just cracks me up because it just has all these very, like, uncomfortable moments that if I was a girl, I would get the ick from this dude instantly if he said this shit to me, or if I heard him say any of this shit, and girls will know exactly what I'm fucking talking about, like, you could have the hottest fucking guy in the world talking to you, but if he says some, like, cringy or stupid shit, you instantly are like, "Ooh, I am 100% turned off right now." Like, I can think of this guy I went to high school with, he came in, like, my senior year or whatever, and every single girl thought he was so hot. He looked like a Ken doll, and I talked to him one time, and I was like, "Nope," and everybody's like, "Why? He's so beautiful," and I was like, "Dude, have you talked to him?" And that's exactly what I got was the ick. It was instantaneous, like, yes, I will admit he was very attractive, but, like, as soon as he opened his fucking mouth, all of that, like, beauty, like, completely went away. I was like, "You might as well be a fucking Ken doll because there ain't nothing up in that head right now. It's hollow, bitch. There ain't nothing there. There's nothing knocking around in there." So that's how I felt when I kept watching all these scenes with Jacob. I got the ick because he's supposed to, like, give her this sense that she's getting over Edward because she's like getting connected with him and closer to him. Also, I hate this part of the movies. The book, it's in the books too. First of all, why did they give her daughter the fucking worst name? I also love that on TikTok. I love TikTok culture because everyone makes fun of her name. Like Regurgitate is one of the ones I keep hearing. That's my favorite because her name is Renesmee, which is just both their mom's names put together. It's stupid as fuck. Anyway, it's also the boy name would have just been as bad because it was gonna be Edward Jacob. So literally just their names. Anyway, I'm getting heated because these movies are so fucking bad. So then, like, anyway, they give her the stupidest fucking name. And then I hate that, like, Jacob imprints on her, and I get it. Guys, I get it, but I still hate it. I can still fucking hate it because imprinting is supposed to be this involuntary thing that just happens. But he does it when she's a fucking baby. And then that whole scene, again, going back to the whole shitty, cringy lines, when she's like, "You imprinted on my daughter?" Wait, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get in character. She's a baby. Like, you named her after the Loch Ness Monster? That whole fucking scene. It's like so goddamn cringy because then like obviously like Bella is like a vampire at that point and she's like debating whether to kill Jacob, and there's like the whole family in the back like watching this like, should we stop this? And Edward's like, no, I think it's okay. And just the whole dynamic of that whole scene was just like, I had like a moment where I like threw up in my mouth a little bit because it was so bad. It was, I just got, and it had been so long since, like, I've seen the first one a lot and the second one too because my friends would want to watch them all over again, so I watched those a lot. But the last ones, like the last three, I've probably never seen all the way through, I don't think, because there was so much shit that I was like, oh, I do not remember this. Like, I don't remember this. And as I was watching it, it was like I was watching it for the first time, essentially. And God, it was all so bad. Again, it got worse and worse and worse. And also, I completely forgot that in that whole actual cool fighting scene where everyone is like ripping each other's heads off and shit, that it was all like just Alice's vision of what could happen if they don't fucking stop. And I was like, oh, so the only actual good, somewhat good choreographed fight scene was not real. Like, doesn't actually happen. That makes a lot more sense actually because it wasn't that bad. If it was real, it would have probably been 10 times worse. Because in real life of Twilight, they would not have looked that cool. God, anyway, but also all I think about is that the dude that was in Twilight in the Volturi, he was also in Stranger Things and in Sweeney Todd and in so many other good fucking movies and shows, and I'm just like, this guy's actually talented and they have him in this cringe ass movie. Again, like there are so many like actually good actors in these movies that I'm like, what made you want to be a part of this? Like, why are you trying to kill your career right now? Because we all know that's kind of what happened with Robert Pattinson and Taylor Lautner after those movies, is that no one could take them seriously after them. And when Robert Pattinson got announced that he was going to be playing Batman, everyone was like, no, it's going to be horrible. And turns out it was fucking phenomenal. And I was like, no, he's actually a really good actor. You guys have just only seen Twilight. And that is not a good representation of how good of an actor he is. Because I think he said multiple times in interviews that he like regrets making those movies. Because again, it like put such a stain on his career and made it very difficult for him to get like other job roles and shit like that. Again, I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but it's just things I've heard a million times. So I would assume at this point there is some sort of truth in that. But it's just, I was hoping that shit would get better in the later movies, and it didn't. It was just as bad. And, you know, apparently, like, she was there was, like, so many talks about her making another book in, like, Edward's point of view. I think it actually did come out, Midnight Sun, but there were talks of them making it into another movie or making it a movie, and I'm like, "Just fucking stop. Stop making these shit ass movies." Like, there's no redemption for them. The only way you would be able to make them somewhat decent is if you were to just completely scrap them and redo them all over again.
Not to mention the fans that would be wanting that movie would be mad that the Robert Pattinson's not coming back. I would assume he's not coming back. I mean, I highly doubt that he would ever give that anything. But so it's like they're just gonna be mad. So it's like you either don't make it, fans are gonna be mad, and you make it, and fans are gonna be mad.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I feel like they would just completely recast.
Plus, we don't want it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I know there's a shit ton of other people that do, but I mean, this has a huge fan base, so I know I'm probably gonna get so much shit. But the thing is that I really don't know anyone that like just genuinely likes these movies. I feel like people like them because they're so bad and can laugh about it. You know, I don't know anyone that's like, oh my God, their love is so true. When it's like, no, dudes, like this was a very toxic relationship.
The only people that I see talking good about this is from the books. I've never heard anybody say, I fell in love with it because of the movies, which I think is where Harry Potter can kind of beat that out. Because, yeah, they're different than the books. Obvious, they're completely different mediums, but there's still a likability to Harry Potter. And unless you love Twilight movies because you hate them so much, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, like to that point of Harry Potter, I mean, there are so many good book adaptations that no, they don't have everything in the books, but they're still very well loved and respected. Like Harry Potter, we're not, let me just put an aside here. We don't like J.K. Rowling. We don't give her any kind of fucking credit for those. Anyway. But also like Lord of the Rings, there's so many fucking good movie adaptations of books that even though they are not like 100% perfectly portrayed, people still enjoy them. You know what I mean? So this is just a perfect case where it's like something that, and I mean, guys, I really do think I should reread these books because I can't remember if they were actually good or if there really was a lot of this cringy shit in them, and I just don't remember because I was 13 when I read them, and now I'm a grown ass woman and I just don't remember. But it's just, they're so fucking bad. I don't know anyone that genuinely likes them because they think they're good, like unironically. You know what I mean? It's just they're not filmed well. And also, why is it that just the entire first movie, everything has that blue film over it, and then in all the other ones, it's normal? It's just that one. Like, they have, like, that blue filter over everything to make everything, like, super fucking cold. And Edward's, like, stone and ice. But then, like, all the other ones, that film was not there. Like, they did normal lighting for all the other ones. It's like, what? But no, like, I feel like also it's just so romanticized, their relationship, when it's like, no, motherfuckers, this was super toxic. Like, she was willing to kill herself, like, every step of the way just to be with this dude. That's horrible. Like, that's not normal. Oy. Also, again, with the cringe moments, another really good cringe moment, I'm just thinking about it now, is the first time, like, Edward sees Bella, like, in the classroom, and, like, it's a very, again, with the slow motion, they do these, like, very dramatic slow motions at the worst fucking times, but the fan, like, slowly brushes, like, through Bella's hair, like, full Beyonce moment where it's like, yeah, like, air flowing through my hair type shit, and the fan goes over and, like, it brushes, like, her scent to him, I guess, and he's like, like on the verge of like death, and it's just like overreaction, and she's just like, the fuck did I do? Like, and then he just ghosts and doesn't show up for like weeks after that. So she's like, damn, do I smell that bad? Like, it's just the way it was portrayed in the movie. I feel like it's 10 times worse than what happened in the books sometimes. Like, again, the cringe is just at an all-time high with these movies. But Also, something that I have to say it. Why did all of the characters that came from like other points of the world, why did they have the most stereotypical racist fucking costumes to portray that was the part of the world that they were from? They could just dress normal. They could literally just be in jeans and a t-shirt and still have accents, and it would not have been racist. This was so fucking racist to me. Does anyone else notice that? Like the people from Africa and like Ireland, like how you had a fucking cap back hat and shit. I was like, why the fuck does that need to be conveyed that he's Irish? It just, or like the people that were from anyway. This all the costumes were so fucking racist, like stereotypes, that I was like, why was this a thing? Why? Other parts of the world, they dress normal too. They don't just wear their cultural things. A lot of the time they're in other attire other than that. So I was like, why does this need to be a thing to convey that they're from that part of the world? I just did not like that. It made me very uncomfy. I didn't like it. And then the dudes that were like old school vampires from like Transylvania, why did they dress like actual vampires from back in the day?
It's like the costume designer of the movies was like,
It got worse every movie.
well, whether it was the same person or not at all, or completely different ones, it's like that designer that was on like Project Runway, where they take the challenge too literal and they don't deliver it. It's like, oh, so we need to make an Irish person, and then thinks of the classic, air quote Irish person, even though it's like, no, that's not it. But it feels like that. It's like they just take their the challenges way too literal. It's like, never mind the fact that this is modern times and people dress how they dress, just like you and me. It doesn't matter where they're from.
That's what I was so confused. I was like, it's not like these movies were supposed to be set in a time like a long time ago. No, they make it very clear that these motherfuckers are old as shit, but that they are in modern times. So it's like, why did you give them such stereotypical costumes? Also, why? Like, I feel like, especially in like the last movies, they blew the entire budget on the wedding. I think that they were like, no, guys. Because I will say that whole scene, beautiful. Like her dress, like every little detail of that was beautiful. We can all agree her ring is ugly as fuck. And they look like they totally got that shit from Claire's. But everything else was very well thought out and looked beautiful. Like the whole scene with the flowers and everything. That looks very beautiful. But then like 2 seconds later, everything else looks horrible. And the rest of their clothes look bad. And it's like, apparently like Alice like bought all of like Bella's new clothes when she like changes. And she's supposed to be fashionable, but she literally is just wearing like plain basic clothes. Like she's just wearing like a black dress, a blue dress.
Yeah, I got you some clothes to match your personality.
Literally. But like when you see like the clothes that in the closet that like Alice picked out, you're like, oh, that's some nice stuff, but they don't put any of that on her. It's just all boring shit. And you're like, what the fuck happened to the outfits that Alice picked out? What? Also, why did Alice's hair get uglier every fucking movie? Like she had adorable, cute hair in the first movie. Then the second and third movie, she had like the shittiest haircut. And then in like the last movie, they gave her this cute little pixie, but also gave her like a horrible anime styling of it. Like where they like purposefully like spike the front of her bangs. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Is she the one that can see the future?
Yes.
Or dream the future or whatever? Gotcha.
Yes. Also, the only, for me, likable, like full-on character that I was rooting for all the fucking way was Charlie. He's a damn good dad. And you know what? From his perspective, he has every fucking right to hate Edward. Here's the dude that like has literally broken his daughter's heart to the point where she's having like PTSD nightmares and shit and like abandoned her, and she's gotten hurt multiple times being around this dude. And she's like, but I love him, daddy. Bitch, what? No, I would be just like fucking Charlie. He's like cleaning his gun and shit when like he comes around, and you're just like, we stand Charlie. Like he's a good dad. Also, you feel so bad for him. Like, I did not cry once in any of these fucking movies except for when I felt bad for fucking Charlie. I was like, stop treating your daddy like shit. He's a really good fucking dad, damn it. He's a damn good dad. He's just trying to make you fucking happy. He's literally doing anything to make you happy. And you're a fucking boring, ungrateful little shit. Like, fuck you, Bella. Making your dad upset and worry and shit. Oh, wait. Also, why does every single one of her friends, like, I know this is such like an obvious, like, shitty, like, high school movie trope that, like, the teenagers they never look like teenagers. They're like grown ass adults. But like that one dude that like is like a jock. I can't remember his fucking name now because he's like irrelevant essentially. Who like has a very obvious crush on Bella from the very beginning, and like any chance he gets, he would like try to swoop in. Why does he look like he's 40? Like, it's not like, okay, he could be in his 20s and he's in college, adult type play. No, he straight up looks like he should be working at State Farm, making me a fucking insurance quote right now. Like, it made no goddamn sense. And I'm just like, why does this guy look so old? Because in comparison, the other people look like 20 years younger than him, so they actually look like they could be in high school. But that one guy does not. It just makes no sense. Oh, gosh. Also, what I never understood, one thing I am going to like put a pin in this, like, because anyone that's ever been to high school in America and that has moved knows that this is the most inaccurate portrayal of someone moving to a fucking town. Because instantly everyone was like, ooh, the new girl, she's mysterious and quiet and totally doesn't give a single fuck about what the fuck is going on. No, everyone would rip you to fucking shreds, bitch. Like, you would, especially in high school, they'd be like, who the fuck is this weird chick? She doesn't talk to anybody. She's boring as fuck. What? She doesn't talk at all? Like, who the fuck is she? And instantly, everyone's so fucking nice to her. I'm like, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. Have you ever been to high school in America? It's the worst time of your life. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That shit's not fun. People suck. Teenagers suck. So when I see these movies and when I read the books as a kid, I was like, this is not accurate. And like every dude thought she was so fucking hot. And I'm like, not that Chris, like whatever the fuck her name is, isn't beautiful, but like the magnitude of what hotness level they portrayed her, like all the guys hitting on her, it's like, I'm not getting that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's not to say she's not beautiful, because I think she's very beautiful, especially now with like her short hair and everything. She got like a whole vibe going on, and I'm here for it. But like with these like shitty costumes and like her very tired look, like barely any makeup going on in the first movie and shit, I'm like, compared to like Anna Kendrick, I'm like, I'm sorry. Like Anna Kendrick's hot as shit, and you're telling me that this very dull, boring, depressed girl is the one that all these guys want out of nowhere? Why? I'm like, just because she was new? That's the only thing I could think of. That's the only reason I could be like, it's something new. You know what I mean? Like when you grow up in a small town and you fucking know everybody, that's the only reason I could think why everybody was like gravitated towards her. But even still, I'm like, damn. It was just so unrealistic to me. It really made me like, what? when I was watching it, I was like, that is not accurate to high school at all. Like everyone would be shitting on her and torturing her. That makes no fucking sense. No matter how beautiful the person is, there's gonna be like the popular girls that are intimidated, like typical mean girl shit, where they like make your life miserable because you're pretty, or you're a total fucking weirdo, and then you still get tortured. There is no in between, okay?
Or they demographed this book to their clientele, which they knew would be people like Bella.
God.
So
I've heard so many times that like the book is like a self-insert. So she's like writing about herself essentially. Apparently, now this is all things I've heard. I don't know if they're real. Don't come for me like if it's totally inaccurate. But like apparently she says that she got the idea of Twilight from a dream she had, where this beautiful girl, this beautiful pale girl, like was laying in a field of flowers with a boy that was sparkling, which is a very like famous scene in the movie.
So she had a nightmare. She was
Like,
in a field with a killer.
this is the skin of a killer, Bella. This is the skin of a killer, Bella. But apparently also, like, it was also based off, like, a fan fiction of, like, My Chemical Romance. I don't know which is true, okay? But that one makes a lot more fucking sense than the fucking the dream to me, okay? And apparently she had, like, asked My Chemical Romance if they would do the soundtrack for, like, the movie, and they're like, "Fuck no." Like, thank you, Gerard Way. But I will say that is the only thing I enjoy about Twilight. The soundtrack is actually really good. And there's like this one song that like apparently I had no fucking clue. It's like Robert Pattinson singing and he's like fucking killing it. Okay. And I was like, damn, where the fuck is that song? Cause I like that. But yeah, I will say the music is actually phenomenal in all of the movies. I do enjoy it.
The voice of a killer.
The voice of the killer. God. Like, I think the worst line was probably okay, this to me, like, as soon as I heard it, I stopped the movie and Justin was like, "What just happened?" Because I was laughing so goddamn hard. He was like, "What just happened?" Because I literally was like about to piss myself from laughing so hard. And it's in the last movie when like Jake Word, Jesus Christ, help me. It's in like the part 1 of it's in Eclipse, I think. I can't remember. They all blur together now at this point because I binged them. Jacob is trying to keep Bella warm because of like she's at that campsite and it's freezing as fuck and they're trying to make sure that whatever that chick Victoria doesn't get her or whatever. They're trying to like trick her away. And fucking Jacob again, I'm telling you, he has like the worst fucking lines. Like she's freezing to death and then like he hears her teeth chattering. He makes a comment about that. He's like, "I can't sleep with all that teeth chattering," which already cringe, right? But then like Edward's like "Oh, what do I do?" Because he's cold. He can't keep her warm. So like sorry, I'm trying to get through this. And Jacob's like, "I'll keep her warm," and Edward's like, "No." And he was like, "What would you rather, her freeze to death?" And then he's like, "Fine." And he's like, and then Jacob says, "Let's face it, I am hotter than you." And it's like I literally like had like an out of body experience because I just couldn't believe that was a real fucking line. Because I get it. There's like layers to it. Like physically, like temperature wise, he is hotter. But also it's a joke because he's hotter than I'm breaking this down where it's so obvious, but it's so bad. And it is definitely to me the worst fucking line out of all of the shitty lines. Like, let's face it, okay, the Loch Ness monster thing, that whole scene, like top tier cringe. But to me, that line trumps it instantly because he's like, "Let's face it, I am hotter than you." Because it's like bad acting on top of a really bad line. It's just, oh God. Oh my God. I gotta like bring this up too since I brought up the shitty CGI baby. The wolves, watching them now, I feel like for the time, not that bad. But also, I feel like they must have like revamped these movies because I know that I think in the original movie, like when they released it, that creepy baby wasn't it? I really can't remember, guys. So please tell me if I'm wrong. Like the creepy puppet baby. I can't remember if that was in the original. And then later on they remastered it and like put the freaky CGI baby. I can't remember. But I just when I think of the wolves, I remember them looking a lot worse. And I can't remember if it's just that at the time. Now, don't get me wrong. They don't look fucking good. They don't look good. Okay, let's just start there. They don't look good. But I feel like they looked worse. Maybe I'm just remembering shit wrong. But can someone tell me, like, if you have, like, an original copy of Twilight, like, if it did look really shitty and I just don't remember, or if I'm remembering wrong. Kind of like how now, like Disney Plus, like any kind of like questionable thing that was in a movie in an original, they're like wiping clean. Cause in Lilo and Stitch, I don't know if you know this, on Disney Plus and like any of the new copies of it, do you remember in Lilo and Stitch when like Nani and Lilo are fighting and Lilo hides in the dryer? That's completely scrubbed. She's not in a dryer. It's like there's like a pizza box on top of like a thing with like clothes covering it. But I remember that bitch hid in the dryer.
So it's not the full scene that they hide. It's just
No.
where she hides at.
Yeah. And it's like, now you brought more attention to it. It's like, for everyone, I feel like as a kid growing up in the night, they're like, yeah, that's normal. I don't give a fuck. Like,
Yeah, I tried to put myself in a dryer numerous times, but maybe that's why Disney's like, we shouldn't be doing that.
like it's like that really wasn't even a bad scene. Like, could have been way worse. It's not like she turned the fucking dryer on. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why they scrubbed that. But there's a few other movies that they've done that too. And it's like, I don't know if that's what kind of situation it is with this, where it's like, I could have sworn that this looked worse. And like, maybe now that they've like remade them or something, I don't know. Mandela effect.
They've done the same thing with the prequels of Star Wars too. Like they've got the on Disney Plus.
Mhm.
It's completely. I'm not saying it still looks good or anything like that. It's just redone with a little bit more modern takes on it. But sometimes, it's definitely not what it was originally, and including the original three. Back like on Tatooine when Luke and Obi-Wan are walking in there and all that kind of stuff, like the band and everything.
Yeah, and like they do the Force ghosts where they implement them with Anakin and everything later on. Yeah. Again, it's not like they look good, but they're trying to keep it up with the time. But I feel like they just I feel like I don't know, I just remember I don't know if I'm having a Mandela effect right now where it's like I remember it completely different than it actually happened, or if it is that they changed it. But it's just the wolves, the CGI, all the special effects in this just are so bad. They're so bad. And it's not even like, it's like, no, that was really good for the time. No, you know what was fucking good for the time? Star Wars. Like, you know what else was good for the time? Star Wars, the prequels. Like, you know what else was good for the time? It's like, no, what the fuck are you talking about? This is horrible.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of the times when that movie came out. Like, when did the first Twilight movie come out? Like 2008?
2009.
Okay, so what movies came out in 2009 that would have
Let's
better?
Google. Because now I'm curious. Because it's like, am I just talking shit? Because I like remember movies looking better. Like, again, like in your head, you remember things differently, but then you look back and you're like, oh no, that really was shit. Like, let's see, like popular movies. Let's just Google popular special effects movies in the late 2000s.
First of all, 2009 was a tough year. Jennifer's Body came out.
Oh my god, that's another thing I wanted to talk about.
17 again, I Love You Man, The Hangover. I Love You, Beth Cooper. I don't know.
Okay, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Avatar, the movie, came out in 2009, so I don't want to hear shit about it. I don't want to hear shit, bitch. They worked on that movie for like 7 years. Oh my god. Okay, wait, hold on. Wait, now I gotta. Transformers, Harry Potter, Star Trek?
Fanboys came out in 2009.
I'm just like, oh my god. Now that I'm like really comparing it to other movies around that time, goddamn. Now I gotta like really get into this. Hold the fuck up. If Twilight came out in 2009 and there's all these Terminator Salvation, like what the fuck? Like some of these movies, it's like, no, there is no fucking way that they can blame it for the time. Like there was the technology available. Dude, yeah, no, they don't get a single fucking pass. Avatar and Harry Potter and Transformers. All amazing CGI for the time, so I don't want to hear goddamn shit.
District 9.
God damn. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I was like, well, maybe there was some really shitty. No, there was like nothing but new age shit coming out at that time. God.
Dude, I'm just going through this list. I forgot how many, there was some good movies that came.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how the fuck did that happen? Let's go forward one more year and just see. Okay? Avengers. Fucking shit, man. Like, oh my god. Yeah, no, they don't get, fuck Twilight. You don't get a pass for shitty CGI. Fuck you. That baby is unforgivable. I'm sorry. Like, the wolves already looked bad. Not to mention, when did the fucking, like, Jungle Book, movie come out? Because that was, like, the first time, like, they ever did, like, Disney ever did, like, the live-action animal thing. Let me look that up.
The one that had, oh, I can't think of her name right now, but she played the queen in Game of Thrones.
I don't fucking know.
She was in it.
Okay. I'm gonna give them a pass for this. But the live-action Jungle Book came out in 2016. When did the last fucking Twilight movie come out? Because I'm going to compare it to that. 2011. Damn, they made all these movies in 3 fucking years? That's another reason why they're probably so shitty. They were probably filming them back to back, so they didn't have time to adapt shit. Damn. No, man, I'm sorry. They don't get a pass for shit. I was trying to, like, give them, like, you know, benefit of the doubt, like, you know, maybe around that time. No. That's why I've always thought they were so shitty, because I knew I had other shit to compare it to. I can't get over that. Fucking Avatar. That really just blew me for a fucking loop right now.
Lena Headey was the queen in Game of Thrones.
Which one?
Cersei.
Oh, Cersei. Yeah.
Cersei, whatever. She was on the 94 live action Jungle Book.
That's right. Dude, yeah, no, like, my point is that there have been better CGI animals and shit, and it's like, I wish I could blame it on the time, but clearly if fucking Avatar came out that same year, no, you don't get a fucking pass, bitch. I'm sorry, like, you just fucking ruined it. No, you don't get a pass. Those wolves could have looked a lot better. Oh, man. I'm like, I really tried to give this shit. What's funny, guys, is I really was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just remembering them being 10 times worse because I keep seeing all the cringe, like, memes and shit on social media again. I literally rented these movies, so I gave them a fair shot. I paid money to see these shit movies, and I binged them all. I took notes, and the entire time I was just like, nope, there's nothing redeemable about these movies. And you know what? I will never forget the costume. You know how I talked about the costumes being super fucked up earlier? Also, why did they have the scariest fucking eyes? They had, like, horrible contacts. I have better cosplay contacts that I got for $15. Like, why do their eyes look so fucking freaky? Especially the Volturi. It's like, you know, you could find better contacts, right? Like, for a movie that I know probably had a better budget for, like, a wardrobe, you know, and costume, like, how the fuck do they all have such creepy fucking eyes? Like, and, like, even, like, expensive contacts, I'm sure they'd be able to afford. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they had the creepiest fucking eyes and, like, shit wigs. All of their clothes were, like, really shitty. Just, Also, like, the fight scenes, like, why were they so bad? Anyway, the whole thing's, long story short, these movies are shit. There is I don't know a single fucking good thing about these movies. Guys, I'm sorry. Like, unless you're just watching them unironically to have a good laugh, like, there is nothing good about them.
Well, they did allow us to have this episode.
Wait, also, another thing I remembered is, like, why does, like, every time Alice have a vision, it's like, even in That's So Raven, it made more sense because she, like, was like, like, totally zoned out kind of thing. But it just looks like Alice is disassociating because she's not having a good time kind of a thing. like, you know, when, like, for all my neurodivergent people, you know, like, when you, like, are, like, totally overwhelmed in a moment and you just kind of, like, zone the fuck out. That's what Alice looks like every fucking time. And it's like, I feel like they could have just conveyed this better, like, just, like, showing her visions versus just zooming in on her face, like disassociating. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just always looked bad. And then somebody always points out, like, Alice, what did you see? Because it's also, they make her visions like they point like it's too obvious because like 5 seconds later they always got to point out like, oh yeah, Alice sees the future because it's like so obvious because she'll give somebody a call and they'll be like, Alice, what did you see? And it's like, god damn, can you just at least let her talk? Like, it's so fucking like annoying every time. Ugh.
It kind of probably might make her not want to tell you about the future anymore if you keep pissing her off that way. It's like, bitch, I just called to see if you had this or that, or see how you doing.
It's just annoying and like all the fight scenes look like shit, man. Like the only one that looked somewhat decent again wasn't even like a real thing. It was a vision Alice had. So I don't even give it fucking credit because I feel like Alice is like, this is what it should look like, but even still, it looks like shit. Like, so bad. And like, tell me how they could make a beheaded Carlisle head look more real than that goddamn CGI baby. I don't understand why that baby looks so bad. And again, I will fight this till my dying breath. Why didn't they just use a real baby? Why didn't they just use a real baby?
Because they couldn't find a real baby that could support that kind of name.
God. God. Also, I hate like the whole idea of like Jacob imprinting on her and shit. It's just gross. I know it's like not supposed to be that way, but it's totally that way and I hate it. It's gross. That's like the whole story thing though. So like y'all don't come for me about that for the movies. It's just overall cringe and gross. I hate it. I think I've gotten all my venting out. I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I'm forgetting. There's just so much shitty stuff.
Well, let me ask you, out of the 5, what was your favorite? What was your least favorite? And what was your favorite cringe moment?
Oh, I was exactly gonna say that. I was like, probably the second one for the level of cringy quotes from Jacob. Like, they're all so fucking bad. And this motherfucker just keeps getting angry that Bella doesn't like him after her boyfriend just left her. And it's like, all right, dude, can you give her a sec? Like,
So episode 2 is your favorite or your least?
no, that's my favorite because it's so bad.
Nice.
And cringe level, it's that one because that's like when he says, Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca? It's so bad. It's so bad. And his fucking wig is awful. It's like, could y'all at least have like tried to style this shitty wig? Like, it looks so bad. Anyway. Boy. Overall, these movies, I regret watching them again because it did not change a single fucking opinion I had. But I hope you got some level of enjoyment of me shit talking them and like reminding you of how shitty they are. But yeah, God. Should I watch or should I read the books again? Would you guys like me to like pick apart the books again? Because I do have a connection where I could get those books. And I don't have to buy them. So if you guys want me to reread these Twilight books, and even if like I like can't find anything about this, like if it's real or not. Midnight Sun, was that actually a book? I just remember people talking about it. I don't know if it ever was published. I'll even read that if it's a real fucking book, just to see if anything changes from Edward's point of view. Whatever. I'll read all of these shit books again, just to do another episode talking about like the comparison of the two, if you guys want. Anyway, so Twilight, guys, did you love them or did you hate them? For me, I hate them, but I will watch the cringiness to laugh at anytime. Man, you made me think of Jennifer's Body. I really want to talk about that movie too, because there's so much funny shit about that too. But I actually love that movie. But man, that would be a good one to talk about too. Would you guys be interested in me talking about Jennifer's Body? Maybe I'll do that too. We're just gonna turn into like a horror podcast, like even though I don't. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, Thanks, guys, for listening to me vent about how shitty the Twilight movies are. Hope you guys enjoyed our Halloween special. Thanks for listening, and as always, it's not easy being geeky. Make sure to check us out on all of our socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. All of it linked on our website, noteasybeinggeeky.com. Thanks again, guys. Bye.